Hey everybody, Brad Tadlock, TNArtist here. Hope you're doing fantastic today. So, been in kind of the mood with the holidays coming up and everything else, maybe working on some holiday cards and stuff, so I thought I'd bring you along for that journey. So what I've got here is a kind of maroon canvas 8x10, 150 DPI, Rebelle 6 Pro, standard oil color set over here with a few of my additional ones, which are of course always available on Patreon for that list. And we're going to start off with just making some abstract shapes and stuff in the background to kind of break up this maroon and give some interest back there. So I've got several different ways of doing that. One of them I'm going to work with is going to be my stencils of textures, which are also over on Patreon. And I'm just going to really just build a bunch of marks over top of stuff and kind of blur it in the background. So let's see, I think I'll go with maybe something like this speckle brush. And let's go with maybe some green in the background. Just to add some interest here and there. Maybe a little bit of cadmium yellow here and there. And I'm just thinking about kind of some hint of stuff that I want in the background that'll be kind of blurred out. So not overly concerned at the moment with much of anything, just kind of some generic shapes that will be kind of added to here and there. Rid of that, so you can see this is really, some kind of blown out colors here and there. So let's Gaussian blur that a little bit, maybe about 30 or so, and apply. And now we're going to do it again. So let's make another layer on top, and this time I'm going to add a little bit of water to this. And go with some of these same colors. I'm just going to go a little bit brighter and just kind of add in a little bit here and there. Let's go something that's a little bit greener. these are just kind of some abstract shapes here and there. Excuse me. So give that a minute to kind of blend into each other a little bit. And then let's go to filter and Gaussian blur. Keep it about the same. And apply. Alright. So that's giving us some interest there. So now what I want to do is add a little bit let's take a look at maybe luminosity. Bringing that up. Well, let's go with this cad yellow and come down here on this one. Let's go a little bit lighter and maybe a little bit golder. Yeah, something like that. All I'm doing is just making circles, kind of overlapping. It's going to build kind of the sparkle of a background. Something along those lines. Let's go a little bit oranger. And something like that. Again, just kind of adding and some out of focus highlights. That'll give a little bit more structure to what we see in the background. Because we don't want it to be, you know, overly defined, but we don't want it to be so out of focus that you have no idea what it is, because I want this obviously to be a star that's kind of in the background a little bit, sparkling, and maybe this over here, an ornament of some kind. This is just, you know, building up some different layers of light. Just some kind of sparkles. For the eye to start kind of filling in. Something along those lines. Okay, so I think that'll work for now. For those, let's make another layer. And now what I want to do here is use my circle tool and make some rough, not quite circles. Okay, I'm going to select the Add to selection. So I can just do several of these. Just get it laid on there, hit enter. Press shift and hold so make it a circle. Same kind of thing. I'll even put a few over here. sure how that changed back to... Must have hit a key that does it. I don't know what key that would be. Just did it again, apparently. Okay. So I want to add in, actually I'm going to add in a few more here. Kind of want these to overlap a little bit. Or almost overlap, I guess, really. So I know this is a little monotonous to watch, but, you know, I'm sure somebody will get something out of it. Something like that. And now what I want to do is I want to come over here and grab this. I'm going to switch this down just a little bit. Okay, so down to there. Let's try putting this on overlay. Okay. And we can go ahead and use the airbrush. Doesn't really matter. Something like that. Gotta grab this lighter color and in the middle a little bit. Actually, you know what? I'm going to duplicate that layer. So now I'm going to duplicate the layer again. I'm going to hide it for a second. I'm going to take this layer and this layer, and I'm going to merge them. And Control D. And filter. Gaussian blur, but we're going to bring that down a little bit. To maybe about 20 or so. Apply it. And we're going to open this one back on. Turn on Protect Transparency. We're going to delete. Actually, that wasn't what I wanted to do. What I meant to do was Control, then delete. So right in the middle of these, we're going to add a little bit lighter color. Something like so. Control D. We're going to blur that one. Okay. And we're going to merge Oops, actually we need to merge all these if we're going to merge them. Yeah, I think we can go ahead and merge all these down. Keep that well, it changed it some anyway. So one of the things I hope they fix in the next version is the fact that you lose your, it doesn't maintain it. Usually if you flatten all of it though, it does. Keep what you've done with the overlays and everything. But this is not, so we'll have to kind of play around with it. Alright. Let's make another layer, turn back on pigment. Alright. And again, want to just make, might be easier just to switch to the airbrush. Just make some more highlight marks here and there. Some sparklies. Something like that, and let's filter that one too. Let's bring that one up a little bit. Trying to see where I like it at. Maybe 25. This one a little bit more. I guess we leave it at 25 as well. And blur this one a little more. Okay. So that's definitely giving us some stuff in the background. It's kind of lit up. I'm going to set another overlay layer. And looking at this cadmium yellow, along those lines. Just want to kind of tint some of this a little bit. Add some indications of a little bit more texture back here. Okay. darkness in here. It might be better just to turn that to multiply. Kind of break up some of this background a little bit. Kind of vignette this, what we're about to do. Keep a little bit of the roughness, but I'm going to probably blur this again. I want to keep a little bit of the paint strokes. Because again, it's going to kind of add to the look and feel that there's stuff off in the distance that's blurred. Just trying to thin out the paint a little bit. Bring this size down. Let's just kind of pull out be like the indication of maybe some branch texture in the background. Something like that. Go to the actual smudge tool and just kind of soften some of this. So we don't have to soften the entire layer. Just kind of let it fade in and out. Like so. So that's going to just kind of help keep the out of focus feel, but at the same time some focus. So okay, all right, we've got that all in there now. So let's work a little bit on what's going to be in the foreground. So we're going to make another layer. We're going to grab the selection tool, and for this I want to put maybe right about here. Let's see, I'm trying to figure out the size that I want. That's probably pretty good. Let's bring that right about there. Maybe over just a little bit so it's not quite centered. Yeah, something like that. Now I want to fill this cadmium red deep. So we'll just fill that like so. Okay. And I'm going to keep this selected. I could just put on the protect transparency like so. And going with the knife smooth, we're going to grab some of this background color and just kind of lay in some abstract shapes. just thinking about the curve of the sphere for what will be this ornament. Grab a little bit of that other red, cadmium red. Okay, I'm going to switch to 4, bring my brush size up. And I'm just going to kind of smear that around a little bit. Again, thinking about the shape, so I keep kind of the spherical motion of it. Kind of like so. Okay. Let's grab, there's a really light pink right here. Let's kind of grab some of that. Throw in perhaps where some of the highlights will be. Some of this will blend out a little bit more. Kind of soften some of the edges on it. Like so. We can grab a little bit more of the dark and kind of put that around here and there. And kind of smudge it around. Like so. We can grab a little bit of the white and add in bit of that. You just want to kind of grab some of these background colors here and there to kind of indicate that it's reflecting those. Like so. And then just give it a little bit along the edge here and there. Just this sliver of a really bright highlight, kind of like so. Okay. And really just that simple, you're starting to give a really kind of switch to 4 here because I want to kind of blend this white around a little bit. You're starting to get a really nice glassy kind of look. I'm going to switch over to the airbrush and go over to that white again. A little bit on the inside here. 4. Smooth that out. One, and do the same over here. Maybe the same down here. And then 4. Just like that. And now I'm going to grab a little bit of this darker color and add a little bit of that in there too, because I want this to go just a bit more interest. So I'm going to push 4 again, just kind of soften some of these. There we go. So I think that kind of really helps sell that a little bit. And then on the next one, we're going to make a little hanger for it. So let's grab the square. Right about maybe there. And tell it enter. And let's grab a little bit of this golden color and we'll just kind of drop some in here, grab a little bit of the lighter color, drop some in here, and just kind of work towards each other. Something like that. Move it up a little bit so it's more towards that top. Maybe even bring it down. And tell that okay for now. Grab a little bit of this darker color. Kind of right in the middle. Because this is basically just a cylinder. And so then let's just kind of soften those. Like that. And we can even zoom in just a little bit and add just a hint of texture to it. Grab a little bit of this lighter color. Something like that. A little bit of even more lighter color. Let's bring that down in size. Let's just add maybe some just random shapes to kind of play around. Because these things are usually textured somewhat. Okay. And we can go to this darker color and really add in some color like so. Get rid of that. Control D. Now let's kind of shape this out a little bit so that it's not quite so square. Something like that. Maybe just kind of round off the top a little bit, like so. And just add in a few lines and spots to kind of, again, indicate that there's some texture there. And let's grab maybe that yellow ochre. Because I think about it, gold is really just kind of yellow and ochres put together kind of stuff, so something like that maybe. Okay. Now let's grab the circle. Because it's going to need a ring to hang from. So we'll keep our brush. It's just going to color down. Let's do a remove from. Holding shift. Bring this in here. Decide how much ring I want, and this will also let me kind of play around with the way it's facing. So I think right about there. Okay, and Shift Control I. Let's go with the eraser. Oops. Being careful not to erase the thing below it. Shift Control I again. Okay. Switch back and then grab some of the colors from here. And just kind of lay out some highlights. And you can very easily just random spots and shapes. Control D. You have a fairly realistic looking ring there, you know. And we can turn on the protect transparency for a moment. Add in a few more hot spots of light. Have this kind of match a little more. Something like that. Okay, and then let's zoom out for a second. So we've got that there now. All right. Now what we want to do is we need to have something for this to hang from, so it's not just floating. And we're going to need a branch for that. So let's make a new layer. And on this new layer, what I want to do is I want to grab a bit of a darker green. And you see, I don't know if this is the one that I want to use, both color-wise and for the shape. So I'm just kind of looking right now. Let's go with the ink tool. Yeah, that's what we want. All right, so first thing first. I want to kind of add in a branch. Something along the lines of there. Okay. I'm going to protect this for a second because I need to kind of add some highlights and stuff to this branch. Okay, push 4. Kind of just soften that back. Something like that. And maybe just a little bit of darkness into here as well. Something like that. Again, push 4. Kind of soften them into each other. Like that. That gives me a little bit of highlight. Okay. I'm going to make a new layer because I want to do the same thing on this new layer. This is where I'm going to go back to this green. And we're going to add in some of our leaves and stuff. You want to keep the ends kind of rounded for these. It doesn't, I mean, it's not something you have to obsess about, but they are usually a little bit more round. Throw a few over here to kind of push this back some. Alright, so now let's turn on lock transparency. Whoops. I don't know why I just did that. Lock transparency again, and let's go a little bit darker. And towards the middle of these, let's just kind of come in and add some darkness. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Alright, something like that. And then we can take 4 and just kind of go back and forth and soften these. And we can kind of go back and forth on how much we want to have and how much we want to soften. And so forth. Okay, something like that. And now let's go to this cadmium green and let's come a little bit over more towards the yellow and then desaturate it. But again, a little bit more towards the yellow, something like that. And this we want to be just a little bit more careful with, because we're going to add some highlights here and there. And this one you're not adding quite as many because otherwise it kind of loses its effect. But you just want to be, and you can even grab a little bit of this like yellow that's here. type stuff. Even maybe grab a little bit of this orangish color. Something like that. And then again, push 4. And just come back and kind of soften just one edge of it so that it kind of blends over into the green really softly. Like so. Kind of like that. Okay. All right. So now between these two, this is still floating, so we need something to kind of go in there, and I want this to be kind of a coppery looking thing. So let's make a new layer, and we'll just kind of maybe something like that. Just doesn't have to be anything fantastic. Merge these two layers so I have the full ornament. I'm going to press T. Bring it down ever so slightly, like so. I'm going to come back up here to my hook, zoom that in, protect that layer, and now I'm going to grab, similar to what we did before, grab a little bit of the darker color. So, a little bit of the lighter color, like so. Press 4, kind of soften them into each other. So I've got a little bit of that there. I'm going to add just a touch of orange to it to give it a little bit more coppery feel. And again, 4, just kind of soften those into each other. And turn off transparency, and I'm going to hit the eraser. Bring that down in size and just erase so that that's sitting in front of it, like so. And now it's hanging on it. Okay, and I can even come up here if I want this to be hanging behind the branch instead of those leaves. Do the same thing. Okay. So now that is hanging from it, just like that. And let's zoom that out. So we're having a little bit of kind of cool interest there, I think. All right, so the other thing I want to do as I'm looking at this, I want to come, so let's label some of these. So this is going to be, well, it's going to need me to double click on it first, but fir tree leaves. Oh wait, I just labeled that wrong. It's hanger. Hanger, branch, ornament, background shadows. That's actually the one I'm going to come back to here in just a second. Man, I just really messed that up. I guess I must have inverted that one. Should list out all my undos. I have no idea what I just did there, guys. Shoot. Yeah, I really have no idea what I just did there. It doesn't seem to be undoing it. I don't know. I'm just going to delete that, I guess. I don't know what I just did. It's frustrating. This back to here. So, you know, if you have a mistake like that, just take it in stride. It is what it is. So you might as well turn it into some sort of happy accident, as Bob Ross would say. Anyway, I wanted to come back to here, was what I was originally going towards. And what I wanted to do with this layer is kind of come in and soften some more of it. Because I noticed on some of this, like this part right here, there shouldn't be really dark lines between those. Should really separate those out. I'm going to soften that as well. Make that a little better. Jump back down to here, soften some of these out. To me, it's just a little distracting, so that's why I wanted to come back and sort of soften it here and there. Because there's a difference between adding texture and then just having something that's distracting. I think that's better. Now the one thing I want to do is I don't really care for this section here. So I want to add another something back there, and the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to take this one and I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to hit T, I'm going to drag it over, and I'm going to reduce it in size. That, and I'm going to go to hue saturation, I'm just kind of playing around to see if I can find something I like. Cancel. Going to hit my marquee tool, my selection tool again, and I'm going to come in and select just the ornament. Now I'm going to go filter, hue saturation, bring that back up to where it was, which was about 46, something about there. Let apply. Control D. So now I've got another ornament there that kind of goes along with it. I want to look at doing something real quick though. Okay, that's what I thought. T, let me move this just a little bit. Well, no, right there, I guess is good. Maybe over towards that. So now what I want to do, I want to see what this would look like if I put this in the background. Along the lines of maybe that, where it's just out of focus. Push 4, move some of these things around here so it's not quite an exact copy of this one. Some things would be a little different just because of the angle. And so forth. Okay, I can even add another layer here and just take the pen tool again. And give the indication that that is there. And that gives it a hanger. Press 4, just kind of soften it. And then press 1. Give it just a little bit more glow for where it's metallic. That, and then 4. And soften it back again. Okay, so I think that kind of gives it a nice, little bit of a balance, a little bit more of a interest. Okay, and so we can do that. Now the other thing we need to do is come back up here to the fir branches, fir leaves, and let's zoom in on those a little bit. And what I want to do here is grab a little bit more of this yellowish color, and on some of these I want to add in a little bit of more highlight, but I also want to leave gaps where there might be shadows from the other branches and stuff. So I'm just putting in the main highlights right now, and then I'm going to come back and soften this. Something along the lines of like this. And just thinking about where some of these lights will be kind of coming through, and then I'll push 4. And just really soften it. Kind of push it back. Just here and there. That's really going to give it that feeling of the light casting across it. Okay. So now I think for this, down here, I'll make another layer. I'm going to drag that one to the very bottom. I'm going to turn this one to multiply. I'm going to zoom back out. Now taking the airbrush and some of this darker color. Going to try and come in here. And add in like so. Press 4. And just kind of move that around a little bit and soften it. I want to push that darkness around it, which will then make it seem a little brighter. Just trying to knock some of that out of focus a little more. Still gonna kick it out. Like I said, usually you can grab all of it and really merge it and keep the overlay effects and everything else. But for whatever reason today it's just not wanting to do it. That's one of the things I just don't get sometimes about Rebelle. Something I hope they fix in the upcoming release of 7. Trying to soften these a little more. I look at them more and more, I'm like, it's kind of distracting. So I kind of want it there, but at the same time, I don't want it so much there. Okay, so I think that's going to give us a good kind of a Christmas card kind of feel to it. And then the nice thing is that down through here, if you wanted to put something like Merry Christmas or something like that, you could put that in here as well. Happy Holidays, you know, whatever. You could also write that in with script, or you could separate this out just a little bit. So anyway, what I was saying was you could take like one of your ink brushes, like the chisel edge or any of those, reed pen, and then in here you could write whatever you wanted. If you're, you know, if you have good handwriting. If you don't, then just use a script, you know. But if you wanted to come in and write something, then you definitely could. Okay. Now, one thing I thought about doing with this that I didn't do was I thought about maybe even adding some snow on top of these. I thought that could be kind of cool looking. So if you change these around, and especially if you change the color of this, like say you went with blue instead of this red and green, some snow on those could look really cool. Just make sure you have it kind of come across the different areas. And just kind of lay it down on here. Bring it around, add some snow up here, follow some of your branches and stuff out. But if you have kind of a bluish ornament and stuff, could look really cool. But this was my original thought, was to kind of maybe come in here and add some snow. And just kind of put ends down here. And then press 4. Just kind of soften some of those into the background. Really the easiest thing is just kind of get it, kind of figure out where you want it, like so. So you can kind of lay this out in here, then take your selection tool, filter, Gaussian blur, to about maybe 30. And you could go around and kind of add that through there as well. Like if you wanted to put some on this ornament here, you could add a little bit. And then again, take your selection tool and select all these. Filter, Gaussian blur. Apply. So that's kind of off in the distance there. And then you can protect transparency here. And come in with just the hint of some bluish color. For shadows. Like so, and maybe a little bit of this darker color, almost be like a shadow on there, just real soft with that one. And then 4, and this one's a watercolor brush, so it's going to blend itself out a little bit. You can kind of come in and kind of control where that goes. Like so. Then push F for fast try, so you're not constantly fighting it. And then once that is all kind of diffused in there, giving you kind of an interesting look. Now you can come back with the brush itself, remove the water, go to white, and add it back in for highlights. So, you know, if you wanted to go that route, you could. If you wanted to go the route of having it have some snow on it. You can also grab a little bit of this pinkish color and just kind of add to the bottom here. And then 4. Just kind of soften that. So totally up to you if you want to add snow or not. Add it, don't add it. But that's the great thing about putting it on a different layer. You can look at it and go, do I like it or do I not? Do I want to soften it? Do I want to keep it? Do I not? All right. Thing I want to show you guys. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of an elegant, kind of a Christmas thing. But like I said, if you wanted to add in a little bit of, you know, make it a little softer. You can come back. and just kind of play around. So yeah, so if you want to add in some stuff to just kind of soften it. There are all sorts of things you can do from here. Totally up to you. But anyway, I'm going to be making a number of these little illustrations for some cards. So I will be playing around with these more and more. And you know, if you don't celebrate Christmas, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to put a Christmas theme here. It could be Happy Holidays. It could be Happy Hanukkah. I wouldn't use a Christmas tree, but it could be, you know, kind of stuff. Because here's the funny part. I actually don't put up a Christmas tree, but I love the lights of a Christmas tree. I love the ornaments. So. Anyway, I am going to probably play around with this some more. Decide if I like the text or not. And I will see you guys on the next one. So if you have any questions about any of this, just let me know. And I will be happy to answer them. But I hope you guys have an amazing day wherever you are, whatever you're doing. May it be a good one. Take care.